It's Super Bowl Sunday 2020, the matchup between the Kansas City Chiefs and the San Francisco 49ers. But let's discuss an even more intriguing matchup, and that is the matchup between the strongest fusion and the strongest mortal, Gogeta Blue versus Jiren. Who wins this titanic battle? Find out next. The best place to watch anime on all your devices in high definition is Verve. Whether it be the new stuff or the classic anime of the past, Verve's got it. Black Clover, Demon Slayer, Dr. Stone, One Piece, all the episodes streaming right now. Try it for free, vrv.co/geekdom. Use that link to try it for an entire month for free. Gogeta Blue and Jiren, two of the most powerful mortals in the history of Dragon Ball. One is fused and one is not. Who would win in this titanic showdown? The mortal who is stronger than the gods of destruction, or the fusion of the two most powerful Saiyans, with the exception of Broly, ever in Dragon Ball? We're going to discuss that here on this video and clear the air about who is the most powerful, or more likely talk about who would actually win the fight, because remember, power is not everything. And joining me on this video, please welcome the power scaler extraordinaire, MJ. Hello.
I told you to stop referring to me as that, but yes, I am back, and we've talked about...
Can I call you Geekless instead? Geekless TV is like a hit clone, bro. He's there waiting to come back, you know?
We've talked about Jiren before, we've talked about UI, we've talked about Gogeta on different videos, but now we have Jiren versus Gogeta Blue, so should be interesting. But before we get into the meat and potatoes, I guess we should talk about what happened recently, right? Super Dragon Ball Heroes.
We need to talk about Super Dragon Ball Heroes. So in Super Dragon Ball Heroes, because of how well Gogeta performed against Hearts getting the victory, and Jiren and Hit were on the sidelines like freaking, warming the bench pretty much here.
The AOP to Seth Rollins, yeah.
I guess you could say that, yeah. It seems like... Who's Buddy Murphy then, bro? Piccolo? Anyways, it's...
The videos of me backing, bro.
Don't edit that out. So it seems like people have the wrong idea here. First of all, okay, Super Dragon Ball Heroes is a promotional anime that's done purely to promote the Dragon Ball Heroes cards coming out in Japan for the arcade game that has constant DLC coming out. If you are using Dragon Ball Heroes to power scale Dragon Ball, Dragon Ball Z, Dragon Ball GT, or Dragon Ball Super, you gotta be an ostrich and stick your head right down in the sand. The entire purpose of Dragon Ball Heroes is to promote the cards. None of it makes any sense. We've seen Vegito Blue with Kaioken. We've seen Super Saiyan 4 Vegito. We've seen other fusions lose to weaker characters like Cumber, and yet Golden Metal Cooler was able to beat Cumber. Nothing in Heroes makes any sense. You cannot use Dragon Ball Heroes, even though it's a promo anime. It's almost like it's its own video game. Do not use it to scale Dragon Ball Super. It's a dumb thing to do.
Plus, before we jump into the versus battle, I want to make note of something before people bring this up in the comments. Yes, in the older video that we did with Seth the Programmer on Danny's channel, we did mention that Heroes showcased Ultra Instinct being superior to fusions, but the only reason why we brought that up is because at the time it was going along with a similar narrative in the Tournament of Power, where we saw many different forms of fusion, Kefla, Aniraza, etc., and Ultra Instinct was superior to all of them. Ultra Instinct was shown as like the ultimate technique / state of being, and it was being promoted as such. So that's why we brought that up here. So again, even the Omen form was stronger than Kefla. Exactly. And like you said earlier, we saw a whole bunch of fusions get their asses handed to them by Cumber, and then you have Goku awaken UI and then just bullies Cumber. So again, it's like you can't really take Heroes too seriously because it's always contradicting itself. It's a game, dog,
Yeah, do not take it seriously at all, especially not that promo anime. Besides the fact that it's pretty much trash, it's just nothing makes any sense in that promo anime. So we're going to be removing Heroes from the equation. Now, the other thing I want to discuss before we get into this is Ultra Instinct Goku. Theoretically speaking, I believe that if Goku did tap into Ultra Instinct during Dragon Ball Super Broly, he would have defeated Broly. I think people really need to understand how powerful Ultra Instinct Goku is, especially when it comes to like the final version of Ultra Instinct, the mastered or completed version. I did do a strongest in Dragon Ball video on my channel discussing how strong he is. I mean, we're talking about like multi-universal tier level stuff here. He is an animal. And I think Broly would have gotten a quick L had Goku done Ultra Instinct. So, of course, in our video for UI versus Gogeta Blue, we said that UI was more powerful, but now we're going to scale it down a little bit. Let's talk about Gogeta Blue during Dragon Ball Super Broly, that version of Gogeta Blue versus Jiren. Now, Jiren at full power. Who takes this fight in your opinion?
In my opinion, right off the bat, I would lean more towards Jiren. And I think people have to really understand where I'm coming from with that because...
And they're going to think you're a Jiren fanboy because you are.
Yeah, I am a Jiren fanboy, but...
But let's use statements from the series to back up your claim.
So there's tons of evidence that tell us that Jiren is already on the level of Gods of Destruction. Now, they never state that he is straight up stronger than like Beerus or you know, like...
They said he was stronger than Gods of Destruction, but they didn't say which one.
Which one, right. So it's interesting because there's actually a wanked argument for Jiren, you know, like a highball argument for him where if you take what Whis had said in episode 110 during the 1 hour special and you combine it with some outside material that talks about him already having power on par with Gods of Destruction, you know, so not just one, you know, they're talking about multiple gods here. If you take that into consideration, you actually probably could say that Jiren is already on a God of Destruction level in his suppressed state during the 1 hour special, and then of course he gets many power-ups, and then he breaks his limits and gets insanely more powerful. So again, you can just use that as a scale, but that's more of a highball. At the end of the day, Jiren is constantly compared to Gods of Destruction, and we see UI go up against that. And
well, the big question is Gogeta Blue on that level? Now, before we get into that, I just want to say, because I know someone's going to mention this in the comments or whatever, that what about what Goku said at the end of Broly, where he said that Broly's the most powerful guy they ever faced? He said Broly might be stronger than Beerus. And again, we've already debunked that in the Jiren versus Broly video we did a while back. But that, to me, is an irrelevant point because, yes, Gogeta Blue was able to beat Broly, and it wasn't a one-shot defeat. This fight went on for a little bit of time. Obviously, Dragon Ball fights go on super speed, so it's faster than we could even imagine. They broke the dimensional fabric during that fight. But Gogeta Blue did get the W on Broly. Use basic algebra here. Gogeta Blue being stronger than Broly does not mean that Ultra Instinct Goku wouldn't have slapped Broly. Ultra Instinct Goku is just at a higher tier, and we've proven that time after time. But the question is, can Gogeta Blue, who's at a slightly lower tier, beat Jiren? And here's the big factor, I think, is if Jiren has knowledge of fusion, he might be able to figure out a way to postpone the fight or to stall for time and eat some of Gogeta's shots and maybe fight until the fusion runs out, in which case he would win. However, to play devil's advocate, if this fight takes place after the Tournament of Power, Goku and Vegeta's minds have both adapted to Jiren. They both are more familiar with Jiren, his fighting style, his power, all these different things. And I feel like at that point, Gogeta would have a psychological advantage as far as knowing Jiren as well as he does. You know, so that could also tip it in Gogeta Blue scale. What do you think?
I think that could play a factor, as you mentioned. Usually in the series, when Goku and Vegeta fight somebody, and more specifically shown with Goku, when they fight somebody and they fight him again, or them again, they usually have a better chance because they've already experienced, and there's like statements in GT and also...
And Zenkai too.
Zenkai, and then there's statements like in GT, and I believe in Super as well, where you'll hear like Goku state, you know, that move won't work on me again, or, you know, you can't beat me this time, you know what I mean? Just kind of saying, like, his body's adapted to their fighting style. He's adapted to what they are. I will say this, though. One thing that people should understand, and you touched up on this in the philosophy behind Goku versus Jiren, is that people...
Great video, by the way. I'm very proud of it. Continue.
People have to remember that Jiren just isn't some tank who is, like, just there. Like, he actually is a pretty knowledgeable fighter, and if you go over what they've told us in the series, you know, he does have a history of training. He was brought up as somebody who's a smart fighter. They've mentioned in the series that none of these guys could have gotten this strong referring to Goku and Jiren, with just usual training. And one of the things that we saw Jiren do in the tournament was he adapted pretty well to Ultra Instinct and was the only character to actually land blows on Ultra Instinct by using his Ki Blast and certain ways that he would fight. So again, when it comes to like an actual head-to-head battle, like both these guys are pretty knowledgeable in the martial arts and they could adapt to each other. So I think one of the big questions here is we didn't see Gogeta Blue at full power. What do you think about a full power Gogeta Blue with the mindset of he needs to finish this fight right now? He puts his all into it. Do you think Jiren can survive a force of that nature?
Well, that's the thing, because it's going to be one of those things where if he goes for like a big Kamehameha with full power, would that not drain the fusion time tremendously and possibly cause them to defuse? In which case, Jiren would either take the Kamehameha and lose, possibly lose, or he might be able to dodge it and move out of the way because he is very fast, probably faster than Broly, but that's another debate we could have in a different video if you want, who's faster. But I feel like if he moves out of the way, Gogeta's screwed. You know what I mean? So it's one of those things where this is a tough debate. I want to just say this about this. There's no clear, like, one-shot winner here. Like, anybody who's going to sit there and say, oh, well, Gogeta Blue would stomp him or Jiren would stomp him in, like, 2 shots. That's not happening here, folks, because Gogeta Blue and Jiren are so powerful that it's going to be a competitive fight as long as it lasts. It'll be just like Broly, where Broly did not go down. Like, as much as you want to talk about Gogeta Blue being powerful, Broly was eating a lot of Gogeta Blue shots before he went down. I mean, he took punishment from this man or these men, whatever you want to call it, because there's 2 in 1. So I don't know. I feel like a fresh as a daisy Jiren, having knowledge of fusion, might be able to win this fight. But I just think it's a tough call. Like, it really is a tough call, because we're talking about Super Saiyan Blue Gogeta, not Ultra Instinct anything. And the speed advantage that UI gives you is almost like a necessary thing against Jiren, because Jiren only got caught a couple of times with shots. Vegeta was able to get him a few times, so was Goku. Gogeta would obviously be able to hit him. But I feel like the speed advantage that UI gives you is beneficial to dodging Jiren's very powerful hammering blows. So I feel like even though Gogeta Blue is fast, I don't see him being as fast as UI. You know what I'm saying? So that could be another factor to talk about. We're going to have to let the comment section decide, and I'm probably going to put a poll up in the upper right-hand corner about who you think's going to win, because this is not an easy debate. This is probably one of the hardest ones we've done, you know, if you ask me.
When it comes to Jiren overall, I think an easy way to just simplify this is the fact that even though Ultra Instinct Goku was superior to him, he at least kept up, and he's like the only person in the main continuity that actually like land blows on him, or at least try to adapt to the Ultra Instinct technique. And just because of that alone, if you put him up against a guy who went up against someone who is only comparable to like a Beerus, you probably might lean more towards Jiren, you know, in that sense. But again, like I said earlier, we haven't seen Gogeta at full power right from the start, you know what I mean, without any regard, you know, just going in. Like, who knows what could happen, you know? These are 2 powerhouses.
I feel like if Jiren can survive the initial onslaught, he's got it. If he can't, he may end up losing, but I don't feel confident enough in saying for sure. I can't pick a side confidently, you know what I mean? Like, in the past, we've been able to do that. This one's a bit tougher. So let us know in the comments what you think, and vote in the upper right-hand corner of the cards. You should be able to pick between Gogeta Blue or Jiren. Obviously, we're talking about Dragon Ball Super Broly era characters, which is right after the Tournament of Power. We don't know how long, but right around that time. Remember, Goku and Vegeta have also been training during that time, and they are stronger than they were in the TOP, so you have to factor that in as well. We don't know how much stronger, but they are stronger. So thank you, MJ.
Yeah, man, always.
We'll talk to y'all later.